Healing Soul podcast, empowering wellness and oneness. I'm your host, Marybeth Rombach Nelson, and I'm really excited today. I have a special guest, Amelia Yanta. Welcome to the Healing Soul.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Gosh, where do I start? Yes, I am a quantum therapist, which describes someone who works mainly in the quantum to do healing at the DNA level, I would say. I'm specialized in transmuting transgenerational ancestral memory, trauma, and um, yes, all sorts of other healing modalities as well, which fits with the quantum healing and all sorts of tools for me, which promote sovereignty to
Okay,
people.
when you say sovereignty, is that like belonging to yourself and being aware of yourself and how you feel on every level?
That, yes, absolutely. Plus, knowing how to operate in this world, in this reality, and also as a multidimensional being, as a part of our galactic family. So, sovereignty in the sense of taking your energy in your hands. So
Oh, I
not
love
giving it
it.
away, not letting others drive you or run your subconscious operational system, but you deciding where you give your energy, where you focus your energy at.
So owning your personal power, your soul
Yes,
power, and
yes,
staying on your soul's path and not veering off on someone else's.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Really connecting to your original blueprint, I would say, to your original um, path, as you say, being aware of where am I going and how am I going there. Mm,
Right. I always talk about doing a self-evaluation once a month to kind of ask yourself, how do I feel? What are my long-term goals? And what am I doing right now to get there?
yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I think perhaps we could do this every day. I think this kind of self-evaluation every morning and every evening, of course, shorter one,
Right.
would be really good idea to recall or call back your power,
Right.
because we do tend to um, you know how would I say it, send lots of thoughts, energy in different ways outside. We externalize a lot, both for advice, both for distractions, and we need to call it all back to internalize. So get it back and get back the strength.
So going within, like in
Yes,
meditation,
going.
yeah, going within, tuning into your own frequency and what you need. And I think that the Merkabah, I know we talked about that before we went on air, is a great way for people to tune into themselves and to own their own energy. Can you explain to our listeners what the Merkabah is if they've never heard of that before?
Yes, so Merkaba, which I train people to activate their own Merkaba, which I'm very passionate about, because Merkaba is one of the very powerful tools. It's an internal system encoded in our DNA, and it's a tool to activating your own light body, your own solar body, or however you want to call it. It's there where you get online and become really the part of that galactic family, that there you really can use your multidimensionality and the sovereignty as well. That lies your field of influence as well. When you activate your light body, you do radiate much, much further than you would in with your physical body. So the tool to for me, it's not only many people use Merkabah for multidimensional travels and um, out of body experiences. But for me, Merkabah is also, which is of course really interesting and fun, much fun.
right?
But I like using Merkabah for the healing purposes because in each level of the Merkabah activation, we have many levels. There are several levels and they are constantly growing
Right,
because we are expanding, because the universe is expanding. So our Merkabahs are also expanding. And in each of the levels of Merkaba activation, there are specific therapeutic properties which do their job when intended. And this is what's so precious. So when you activate your Merkaba, you can heal your inner child, you can transmute ancestral blockages, you can upgrade your DNA to the current level, you can heal um, the weakest organs in your body, for example. So you can focus your Merkaba on specific tasks.
which is
You can
beautiful.
also,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And so are we, for the listeners, when I think of healing, and I think it was Einstein said the future of healing is frequency. And I totally believe that everybody is getting on board with that because our cells vibrate, our our bodies vibrate, the earth resonates, everything resonates, and getting in tune and connecting, expanding and surrendering to that energy.
yes. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And the work with Merkaba is raising frequency progressively. It
Hmm.
is all about frequency. And when I speak of Merkaba levels, it's actually frequency levels. Each frequency level has specific encoded in our DNA properties,
That's fascinating.
encoded set of instructions, I would
Okay.
say. Mm,
So it's like we're unlocking them as we do the Merkaba meditation of expanding, expanding, and then opening up almost like another layer of ourselves.
yes, absolutely. Many, many layers of ourselves. And um, it's only possible with higher level of consciousness. That's why Merkaba cannot be really activated when we are not ready for it, when we don't have that level of consciousness, as it's a very powerful tool. And it's for me, it's always important to to teach or to instruct my clients, the people I work with, to be connected to their heart center, to the heart-based consciousness. Because as powerful Merkaba is, when you connect with the heart, the real change happens there. Without the heart, it still works to a certain extent, but with the heart-based consciousness, there is yet another level. So
I
as
agree with
Merkaba
that.
is a
Yeah.
sorry?
My last book, well, not my last book, but the book before that was Intuitive Heart. And getting intuition from your feelings and how you feel in your heart. And
Yeah.
what I saw in meditation was my heart expanding out, 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 connecting with universal heart
Yes.
and that energy of just beaming love, feeling everything in your life. And that will guide you more than your third eye, even.
Absolutely. That's my sense as well. I mean, and I see it also in the shift which happens with my clients, with people I work with, when they do connect, when I guide them connecting in the heart, it's they have the experience in such a profound way and much faster way than traditional meditation. I would say when we used to, again, externalize, go outside of ourselves, but going through the heart, within the heart, through the portal, which I've seen, there is we have a portal, almost like a wormhole portal, which we can transit into that experience of I am part of it all through me, through the heart. And the experience of everyone I guide through this particular meditation is incredible. Is there where actually people get in touch with their multidimensionality. Is there where they see, wow, I'm traveling through the heart, through, well, from within,
Right, right.
and I'm having this expansive experience.
I know when I had a near-death experience after surgery, and it was the second time that my dad had passed when I was 14, and I was 30 when this happened to me. And I was with an abusive person, and my dad telepathically is like, "What are you doing with your life? You know better than to live like this." And I thought, you know, it still felt so expansive and beautiful and blissful in the white light. I didn't even have my body, but we were speaking to each other. But he said it wasn't my time and I came back. But what I experienced when I came back was I said I had heaven's love in my heart. I literally felt love for everyone and everything shooting out of my heart, which sounds so corny, but it connected me to my soul. And
Yes.
no one or nothing could change or affect me after that point. And I think it's a beautiful space to get where you're so in tune with yourself and you know yourself. And I feel like that's what the Merkabah and going through the heart does for people, that you
Yes.
realize that you're your soul, that we're all connected.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You merge in that you merge in that process, both with activation, Merkaba activation, and going through the heart portal. You do merge with your higher selves, as
Hmm.
you say, with your soul. For me, we have many higher selves
Hmm.
because we have many dimensions and many,
Right.
specific.
I
So,
agree. I talked about the dimensions the last podcast, so this is perfect.
okay,
Yeah, for the
yes.
follow-up for this. So where, I was 14 really when my intuition popped open because I saw my father after he died and he visited me, and that's when my intuition just wide open and I kept experiencing different spirits. When did you start your spiritual journey and what got you on this beautiful path?
Wow, gosh, where do I start? Well, I was always very, very sensitive child already, very sensitive. I had visions. I was communicating with the unseen world and um, saw my past lives. That was kind of that part of my childhood, which totally didn't fit with my family structure.
Okay.
So at the age of 8, I indoctrinated one of my friends to go out and looking for UFOs.
Oh,
So then
wow. At
calling
8
on
years
them
old?
so that they would take us back home. I was convinced I don't belong here on planet Earth and definitely not in my family. So that was the beginning of my journey where I always knew I was very interested in the mystical and magical world. So very early on, I was a frequent guest at the library. In that time, we didn't have Google, we didn't have internet, so I was just in the library and reading all the books I could about magic and mysticism and also in that metaphysical world. There wasn't much information that time, but I had some ideas. And then, of course, when getting adolescent, I just did like most of my fellow travelers, intuitives. Um, got the education of traditional science
Hmm.
information science. I studied information science and
Okay.
then worked with knowledge management and got into the corporate world. And um,
So going back to the UFO, did you ever see a UFO? I feel like the
I,
answer is
you know
yes.
what? Till today, I never have
No?
seen them, and I
Oh,
know why. But I'm communicating with them. So
okay.
I'm in,
I had to ask.
yes, I'm in very, deep communication with all sorts of extraterrestrial beings, but they never wanted to, well, they never appeared to me
Okay.
as really I have to stay here.
So do you feel that you are from like Lemuria or Atlantis or
Oh
where do you
yes.
yeah, myself,
Yes, yeah,
Lemuria
I
for sure.
recall, I
That's what I feel.
recall lifetimes in Atlantis. I was part of the group working actually with DNA,
Okay.
improving the human DNA, and I was part of. We were called Nine White Sisters,
Oh, okay. I love
which
it.
I'm the only one incarnated today, and all
Uh-huh.
the others they are laughing at me from the from another dimension, supposedly helping me. But yes, I have recalls from Lemuria and lifetime life.
I do too. Yeah. And I think it does from that past life, it makes you want to learn the mystical and the esoteric and to bring back all the knowledge that used to be into the current lifetime. And I do feel like the earth resonance and the dimensions are expanding those that aren't even ready for it. So the light workers of the world have to help them facilitate and adjust to the higher vibration.
That absolutely that's my purpose. And also normalize, for example, what we're talking about right now, normalizing that kind of aspect.
And
That
discussions about it and that it's normal. Yeah.
yeah, yes, yes. So yeah, absolutely. That is my purpose today, and well, today it always been with the detour in information science, knowledge management,
Uh-huh.
leadership development. I always worked pe with people though. I always felt that call, and intuition came. That always interested me. So already from for my thesis at the university, I wrote a about intuition in decision making. And
Okay.
I wrote a white paper, Intuition in Decision Making in Organizations. And
I
they
love
let me
it.
present it on a conference. There were 500 people. It was
Oh, wow.
knowledge management conference in Nordic. And that I'm talking about 30 years ago.
Wow. So I bet you got really positive feedback from that because I'm sure it hit a chord with a lot of people.
I did. I actually did. I was surprised myself because that time it wasn't really the time of, speaking about intuition,
Right.
but one-to-one when I did executive coaching as well, and on one-to-one sessions, everyone, everyone used intuition. So, I always kind of sneak that subject in.
I love
And
it.
yeah, so that just showed me people are much more open than they are portrayed to be sometimes. Even in
I agree with that. And I think if you get in a discussion with people and if you like people will automatically say, well, I'm not intuitive. And then I'll be like, think of a time in your life where you experienced someone passing and you either saw an angel or they came to you after. And almost every single soul has had some kind of experience and they're like, oh, I guess I am a little intuitive. So it's like getting them to be self-aware that every person has intuition. It's just allowing it and accepting it to come in and realizing it when it does happen. Those little inklings, the signs from spirit, those nudges, how we feel in our heart, having
Yes.
vivid dreams, all those things are intuition.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the biggest, I would say, in my experience, the biggest aspect or the biggest element to really let intuition work for you is trusting, is the trust.
Exactly.
Trust in yourself and trust in the universal works,
And
how it works.
wisdom. Yeah. And I think of being confident enough to be authentically you. If spirit nudges you to go a way that you don't think or had never thought of, to try it, because that synchronicity happens and new doors open, and you can go another path that you've never ever gone down. And I got laid off from a hospital job, and that was when I started writing. And I had journaled in notebooks spirit messages for years and years and years. And that gave me an opportunity and time to write. So sometimes when one door closes, there's a reason on our path that that door closed, and it can take us down roads that we never thought we would travel. And how fun and fascinating, and just being open and allowing these things to come into your life.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Allowing it, you say the key word. Allowing it, not fearing it, and not resisting the change happen. Because as you
Right.
say, when one door closed, we get so scared that, oh, now there is no way back. And because we can't really imagine that there is something much better waiting for us. And
Exactly.
I have been challenging myself all my life what I can see now, quite drastical changes. I moved countries, I changed careers, and I really kind of did yeah, drastical changes, and sometimes really without knowing what is on the other side. For example, I left Denmark um, after being a little bit of having a little bit of burnout within the
Okay.
um, the management coaching, executive coaching, and
Right.
group training, and so on. It's been a little bit, I would say, time. I had a period of um, happenings where I thought, so I'm challenging all these people to do the big jump, and where am I at here in rainy Denmark, and I want to live life, and is this it?
Right.
Is there nothing more? So I just said, no, stop. I'll open an art gallery in France, and
Wow,
you
that's
know,
a huge
I'll,
change. Yeah.
that's a huge change.
Yeah.
I didn't speak a word French. I did not speak French.
So that was very brave of you to go. Yeah.
Very, because I didn't, or stupid, that's how I thought. I think I was, I didn't know how to run a gallery. I just loved art. For me, art is a intuition language. One of the intuition languages, inspiration. And I always loved art, and I saw the messages in art, and I thought, okay, so I don't speak French, which means I can't do my normal job, which I would do working with people. I will be presenting and selling art.
Hmm.
And I came to France, to Nice. I packed my car with my 11-year-old son that time,
Wow.
and not knowing anyone, within 18 days, I signed a contract for a gallery.
Wow. So
And
synchronicity, it was the perfect thing to do for
synchronicity,
you. Yeah.
it was already prepared. I had the call. I heard the call. It's like when you feel my soul is a little bit dying, where
Hmm.
I need to replenish. I need to have a passion now. And so it was there. It was in the field, and I did the jump. And it wasn't easy. I had a
Right.
lot of fears,
Right.
of course, but I did it. I never regretted it. So that was kind of intermezzo um, before I went back to the into more the working with the invisible
Right.
world.
So are you an artist yourself? Can you paint?
I do paint. I'm not an artist. I mean, I'm a closeted artist. I will never
Okay.
come. Oh, well, it's really just for myself.
Oh,
Even though
I bet you've created some beautiful art with the dimensions and the spirit world. You could do some really mystical, magical art.
this is what I do.
Yes.
And actually, I have to say, I did have an exhibition in Rome. I
See?
lived 2 years in Rome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I had a client coming some clients came to my home. I had a special office there, and I had my artwork on the walls. And this particular client, she said, "Well, it's beautiful. I know, by the way, I know a gallerist in Rome. Maybe she will, exhibit your artwork." I said, "Oh, no." But she sent her my photos and she said, "I would like to exhibit you."
See
So I
how
did.
that's awesome. So, I mean, talk about doors opening and just through a conversation and a visit, look what magical happened for you. So that's awesome. I'm creative with words, but I'm not a painter or an artist. I wish I was.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are because what I've experienced with working with artists then that was much more interesting for me than me exhibiting my art, but really working with artists, it doesn't matter which medium they work with.
Uh-huh.
They create always something really inspirational, and you will, if you really want it to, I'm sure that your creativity will come through.
It's in there somewhere, huh?
It's in there somewhere. It's just our idea of this is what I can, this is what I can't, but
That allowing, it goes back to allowing things, right?
allowing,
Yeah, allowing and
allowing.
surrendering. So getting back to the Merkabah, I usually do a little meditation. Would you mind guiding our listeners on a little Merkabah meditation, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes?
What I can do, so Merkaba activation is a very specific process.
Okay.
So I do a 3-week course.
Oh, okay. Do you have anything coming up that our listeners could participate in?
Yes, I have every month I start a new group. So I do both individual training and group training. So there is every month there is one. The next one is in the end, I think 25th of May.
Okay. I'll share
Um,
that. You can give me that link and I'll share it
yes,
on the podcast notes, okay?
yes. So it's a 3-week course where people get the manual and everything, explanation. There is also present every day in little chat or personal chat or so because I'm monitoring their vibrational levels. It's
Okay.
very powerful. It's a very powerful process. So we don't want the body, the frequency raised too quickly because it needs to go
It's a
gradually up.
process. Right. It's a
And yeah,
process.
the process. And I am, of course, the explanation of each level, which level does what is happening with your body and
So
how you can
fascinating.
heal. Yeah. And I just want to mention that Merkaba, when you activate your Merkaba, you can heal other people
Okay.
at distance. Of course, you can use it, plus the
Okay.
Merkaba, your light body magnifies everything.
So just a quick thought. I'm a Reiki master and my mission is to give people hope and healing in this lifetime. Do you feel like Reiki is using the Merkaba energy?
Uh, n- so it's a different source of energy.
Okay.
So,
I was just
so
curious.
Reiki is a part of cosmic energy,
Right.
cosmic energy stream, while Merkaba is your own internal
Oh,
system.
okay. That makes sense.
So, yes, this is where the comes in. So, we are raising our frequency towards more and more sovereignty so that we can utilize our own power and our own powerful energy, including heart energy. And being dependent more or dependent, really utilizing that in everything we do, also healing. External, I work also with other healing modalities, Reiki and Lao Chi and the Golden Triangle, and these can be used in really, they can profit from the Merkabah for the magnifying effect, greatly magnifying effect.
Okay.
Because imagine that you use partially you use that cosmic frequency, like for example Reiki, and then you magnify it with your Merkabah, your own field, which is incredibly large when you activate your Merkabah, which is basically multidimensional at that point.
Okay.
So the effects are enormous. So, for example, I have a group of the people I initiated to Merkabah, and we do once a month um, group Merkabah and collective Merkabah, where I merge our individual Merkabahs in one Merkabah, and we do healing for specific places for Earth, Mother Earth.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So do you
Yes,
do these classes for our listeners if they're interested? Do you do them via Zoom or how do they connect? It's Zoom?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Via Zoom. I do. I work mostly at remotely. I work most remotely. Yes,
And then
at
what is your
Zoom.
website? I'm sorry to interrupt. What's your website?
It is emiliayanda.com.
Okay, and I'll put that in the notes too, because I'm sure the listeners will be interested in looking at your classes and checking that out. And do you have anything else that you really would love our listeners to allow into their energy or a shift that you feel is coming? Because I feel like the earth and the universe is just expanding at such a rate that what could you suggest for our listeners to do to adjust to the shift?
Adjusting to the shift with the incredibly powerful, strong energies incoming, for me, it's really spending as much time as possible in nature, as we can get an overload or overwhelm, because our bodies, our physical bodies, need to adjust to all these energetics. And of course, with the tools like Merkaba, other tools, I work with dragon energies, energetics as well. For me, the equilibration or harmonization of the two polarities, masculine, feminine, as well, is a really good way to go. Really returning into that unity through the heart portal, really always returning. I would say a good practice is calling back your energy every night before
Okay.
you go to sleep, calling back your energy from everywhere, commanding it back, because it's your energy and you need that harmonization.
And then
So
if sorry, but if you're a light worker too, I always release the energy that doesn't belong to me into Mother Earth.
yes,
I
yes,
allow what doesn't belong to me to travel through my feet and into Mother Earth, and she takes it from me, and then revitalizing my personal energy back to me. It's like a little mantra I say.
beautiful, beautiful. I really believe that there are many practices which we can use, which are very useful and work perfectly well. It's all based on intention anyway. This is where our power and the sovereignty lies. That through our intention, which is more and more powerful, the higher our frequency is, our intention becomes more powerful. So absolutely any kind of practice where you You call in energy, you release energy. What you do, it's beautiful. It's actually in necessity today. We can't just let our energy floating or having other people's frequencies in our field just like that, like in past times. We really need to be assertive
It's
and
almost
take
like having
care of.
spiritual boundary.
Yes, yes, energetic spiritual boundary, absolutely.
Right.
Because everything is energy. We are energy, so
Yeah.
we have to take care of it and manage it.
Yes, I totally agree. Well, it's been so fun. We could talk forever. I want to thank you for being on the Healing Soul podcast. And do you have any parting words or anything last that you'd like to share? You've got your class coming up, and I'll share your website link on the notes. And it's
Yes,
a pleasure.
I would just like to say that for the Sovereign Divine Feminine Retreat, which is coming up in September in Italy, close to Rome,
Oh,
there we,
beautiful.
there we also work with this harmonization of feminine and masculine and transcending and transmuting ancestral memories.
Okay, I'll have to add that also to the notes.
Yes. And I would say just let's be the love we came here to be. Let's just be it. Let's decide to be that love.
That's beautiful. And love is all there is. That's
Love is all there is.
that's
Love
why
is
we're
all
all
there is.
here to learn that lesson.
And we have all this fascinating journey with experiences, both positive, negative, however you see them. But in the end, love is love is.
Yes. It's the biggest lesson that we have is to give love and be love and try to be kind to people. And everyone's going through some kind of personal tragedy or personal problem that to give people a break and be kind and loving because you don't know what's going on in that person's life.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh,
I
thank you.
couldn't agree. That is the sign of mastery when we are kind to each other and to ourselves, not forgetting ourselves.
That's so important. You got to feed yourself first, spiritually and emotionally and soulfully. So, and I always pick an intuitive heart oracle card, and today's is perfect for what we've talked about. A spiritual message is coming soon. Open your mind to messages. The act of being open to receiving messages will allow them to be delivered to you. Stay open, believe and know that a spiritual message is on its way to you. I want to thank all of our listeners today, and like I said, I'll put all the links to all the exciting events coming up, and I'd love for you to hit the follow button and share this episode with a friend, and know that God loves you, and so do I. Empowering wellness and oneness, the healing soul. Thank you.